Grace Magashule's former personal assistant, Moroadi Cholota, is said to be appealing to the United States Secretary of State, Antony Blinken, to halt her extradition to South Africa. In a News 24 report, her lawyer confirmed Cholota's intention to appeal. Cholota was arrested in the United States in April after she was charged alongside Magashule in the Free State asbestos case after she reneged on an agreement to testify against him. For some analysis on the prospect of success for her extradition appeal, we are now joined by legal analyst Ian Allis. Ian, thank you so much for joining us on Newsfeed AM this morning. I guess, what are the chances of Ms. Cholota actually getting that extradition halted?
Good morning, Masa. Good morning to the viewers as well. If one looks at this with the extradition, there should be actually no basis for an appeal in this. It's a clear-cut case. She is arrested. She's already entered into plea negotiations with the prosecution, which she has reneged upon. So there should be no basis for this appeal to be upheld. The problem, however, is because of the recent political issues between South Africa and the United States, but also because of the comments that were previously made by our speaker about the conditions of South African prisons and our criminal justice system, there may be slight grounds, almost from a mercy point of view, that the Americans might even consider going ahead and keeping her there, just from the basis of saying that she might not receive a fair trial or that her life might be in danger.
And speaking from that mercy point of view that you speak of as well, Ian, I mean, she also has claimed her questioning and detention in the US amounts to mental torture. So would that be some of the things that would speak to that mercy point as well?
Let me put it to you this way. That's the one way to go ahead and irritate the Americans, is to go ahead and start saying that you've been tortured and police brutality. Thing is that this is where the problem comes with these corruption matters, and where you've got reluctant witnesses like this. They flip-flop between whatever it is. Don't bite the hand that feeds you. To a huge degree, if the Americans are willing to go ahead and come to her aid and halt the extradition, don't go and start saying that they've also tortured you and that their methodology has been mentally harsh, because they're going to say, you know what, this person is actually not setting out grounds. She's pleading for mercy on one aspect, and then going ahead and insulting us. The carrot and stick approach doesn't help in circumstances like that. So that might be the one thing that will end up costing her this appeal.
Yeah, I mean, also according to that News 24 report as well by her, quotes from her legal team as well, saying that she's actually in the US to study, not to be detained. But also, if we look at that bursary that she received as well, and the allegations being that she didn't even qualify for it in the first place, what do we make of that?
It's a bit of a sham, if one could go ahead and say that, you know what, she can't use this, whether she's there to study. You can't go ahead and be involved in corrupt activities, or allegedly be involved in corrupt activities, be charged according to that, and then say, oh no, but that's not fair that I'm detained, I'm here as a student. Doesn't matter what capacity you're actually there. This is what people don't understand. You can't go ahead and just hold your hands up and say, I'm not here for that purpose, so you're not allowed to detain me. She's not a diplomat. Her bursary was under very suspicious circumstances. It's more sounding like a cover-up, more to go ahead and have her there so she doesn't testify against Magashule. And in that way, you know what, she's not exactly going to be a sympathetic party from an extradition point of view, because she's just shrouded by too much government corruption and dishonesty.
And I mean, Ian, of course, different countries have different sets of laws as well. But when we come to think of it, the Maryland District Court ordered that she remain behind bars after she was arrested in April. But her co-accused in South Africa got bail and they're out, which is how the law would work here. Is it a little bit unfair that she finds herself behind bars and her co-accused are out scot-free after bail?
Not at all, because at the end of the day, it is different sets of requirements for bail, as it would be in South Africa as opposed to America. Is technically they've been charged under various corrupt activities in terms of the Prevention of Organised Crime Act. The problem is, and this is where you take a this is where she's rolled the dice and it hasn't gone in her favor. In terms of American law, it's actually a lot harsher than South African law is when it comes with those type of activities. So you can pick your poison. Realistically, if she concedes to extradition and is sent back here to South Africa, the likelihood is that she would face a lesser sentence and possibly qualify for bail as well. So she's picked a very dangerous poison, and now she's trying to go ahead, fight it in one fell swoop, because she knows she is in danger, but at the same time she can't get it the same way. She can't have it the same way when you've got a more lenient structure here in South Africa, as opposed to their organised crime laws and their RICO Act that they go ahead and prescribe to.
So this basically then kind of says that she would rather face the harsher laws in the US than a possibly more lenient sentence in South Africa, also considering that it would be possibly coupled with some sort of, as she has said before, that she feels that her life is under threat because of political interference.
Mm-hmm. The problem is the political interference is the main thing. And secondly, what she's shown very quickly that she'll flee the country. She's got means to flee the country. So the problem with that whole bursary aspect is it's created a bit of a spider web for her. And in doing so, she can't go ahead and rely on certain benefits that she would get in the South African law. In fact, if anything, if she was to apply here for bail, and they'll say, listen, you were arrested overseas, outside of the country, you've now basically set up your own type of network outside of the country. You are actually a flight risk. So she'll probably take her chances more, if one could say, from a jail perspective. She's probably better off in the Maryland jail system than she is going to be down here in South Africa, especially where the matter's going to be tried, because they can have a right to actually put her in any prison that's deemed fit, which includes Kotsi as well as Johannesburg Correctional Maximum Security. So from her perspective, it's probably it's the better of two evils from a jail point of view, but also it's probably guaranteeing her better safety than she will have here.
I'd like to add a better of three evils there, Ian. Is it possible that had she just stuck to the initial agreement that she would testify against the former Premier of the Free State and her boss, that she would be in a better position right now?
Oh, by far. She probably would have gone ahead and gotten a full 204 immunity in regards to that and would have walked. And now she's reneged on it. She's flip-flopped her versions for the National Prosecuting Authority. There's no trust in her. There's no immunity that's going to be given, and she's now a reluctant witness who might be apparently changing her story. So realistically, I wouldn't be optimistic if I were her anymore about any further horse trades that could take place.
Ian, thank you so much for helping us understand this and your analysis. Really appreciate it. That was legal analyst Ian Allis joining us, talking about that also important case of the asbestos case.